between two conflicting estimates. Somebody is lying.
Hey, my lovers, my nieces and nephews, we were just talking about the Lindsey Graham probe and how Lindsey Graham, they were calling an ethics investigation into him for voter fraud because he's a fraudulent, like pretty much every other Republican. So now we talked about what affirmative action was for the Republican Party. The Republicans are definitely on some affirmative action. The Republican Party is a white ethno state party that the goal of for America is basically to have the country be represented in the way that their party is. They're kind of 99% white representation where all the members of Congress, virtually all their senators look like that. They want America to be like that. So they are an identity politics, the identity politics of white ethno state, like a white ethno-nationalist state. That's what they want. They want kind of like a Germany, a Nazified style of Germany where white people are certainly on top. They might have people of color in there, but they're only if you agree with exactly what they're saying, the way you have to be. They don't want any sort of queerness, any gayness, any transgenderness, any disabilities. They don't want you. They want you to be able-bodied. They want you to be basically, air quote, perfect or normal, whatever, by their standards, right? Like, obviously, there's no such a thing as everybody's just a human being, you know what I'm saying? But under their guidelines, there are certain people who deserve rights and freedoms and certain people who do not. So they use tools to stay in power, even though their their electorate is a lot smaller than Democrats. Even in this 2020 election, Donald Trump lost by about 5 million popular votes. I think they're still counting. So he lost by quite a bit. And we're gonna watch this video. This cat, he's on the. I've seen him do some segments with TYT. This was made in 2017, but this is about gerrymandering. There's a bunch of videos on gerrymandering on YouTube. I would definitely advise you just to look into it if you're someone who's just trying to understand kind of how the system works, and like how it works, and who it benefits. And we're talking about gerrymandering. We're also talking about the Electoral College. These are affirmative action programs for the white ethno Republican Party, for them to maintain power. That's they're dominant. Mitch McConnell is a dominant force in the Republican Party. In one term with Donald Trump, they were able to get 3 Supreme Court justice seats. I guess, it's how the things fall and stuff. But boy, the Republicans, they are able to use their limited time and they just get busy. And so let's watch this video, because this video is a pretty good one in giving you an understanding of kind of how gerrymandering benefits Republicans.
So Donald Trump was elected president, and now Republicans control the Senate, the House of Representatives, 33 out of 50 governorships, and 32 state legislatures. So while Republicans control our government basically at every level, the Democrats have a shot to fight back in 2 years, right? Wrong! That's because Republicans enjoy a series of structural advantages in our system. For example, Hillary Clinton earned almost 3 million more votes than Donald Trump. But she isn't president because of the Electoral College. The U.S. isn't shifting towards conservatism. Republicans are just far, far better at rigging the system to remain in power. One of the main ways they do this is gerrymandering.
Okay, so I think that's actually a good point, because I think a lot of the time the news media and everything puts the onus on regular people. Oh, you've just got to come together. You got to do this. I think, honestly, most people are ready to come together. We're ready, but you need a system that allows us to come together. And the system we have now is broken, and it's divisive, and it makes people fight. You know what I mean? And like CNN plays a part in it, MSNBC plays a part in it, Fox News plays a part in it. Why? Because there's a lot of money in conflict. American TV is all about conflict, getting people to argue. Even on Facebook, they write the algorithm so y'all be arguing, because if you argue, you stay online longer. They know this shit. So everything is about conflict, getting people riled up, getting people rowdy. Everything's about that. It's not about bringing us together. So the idea that the American people are the problem is a perfect scapegoat, because if you blame the American people, then we can never be fixed. You know what I mean? That's like, oh, just go around and tell each individual to be better, rather than saying, hey, make the system better and more people are going to have better results. If we're living in a country where people live in paycheck to paycheck, 78% of the people, the results are not going to be good for most people. 80% paycheck to paycheck, plus you don't have no health care, plus like that just means every when you're living paycheck to paycheck, it means like any sort of obstacle in your life could be devastating at any moment. Imagine what that psychologically is doing to you at every moment, knowing if your car breaks down, now you can't get to work, now you can't get no money, now you can't pay your rent, now you can't pay your phone bill. It's ridiculous. Like the amount of expenses the average person has versus the money they're supposed to bring in. And that shit's just been normalized, that like, oh yeah, you know, you're supposed to be struggling. Like every American's supposed to be struggling and shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is the world we're living in. So when the news media gets starts airing and says, "Oh, y'all just got to come together," I'm like, dude, American people aren't the problem. I know a lot of people are out there on some knucklehead shit because Donald Trump has given them that avenue. If you give them something better, motherfuckers will go to something better. But when you do some deranged, narcissist, motherfucking ex-TV host, it's like it's like you're not giving people anything. And he's the only exciting thing for a lot of people. And Trump is exciting for the people who are into that type of shit. He's a TV star. He knows how to freaking put himself out there on the TV. All the Republicans that are successful are actors. They're TV personalities. Ronald Reagan is their biggest shit. They're just, all you need to do with the Republicans is be a good motherfucking actor and tell them the fucking shit they want to hear, and it's on, baby. And it's just, we're just setting the table for the next more suave. It could even be a black guy who's a fascist. It might be a woman, you never know, but we're setting the table so that people are believing like this fake populace, rather than they don't know what the difference is between a real daddy that's going to take care of you and then one of them stepdaddies that's going to try and fuck you the second your mom's out the house and shit. They don't know how to differentiate for that. So American people look at the rapey kind of dad, they're like, oh, he cool. But then they end up getting raped. But we're like, oh no, it's my fault. I just, you know, that's what Trump is. He's a cult leader. He gonna hurt you more than he's gonna hurt his fans more than anybody. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. I'm sorry about that. But really, my point is that the American people are not that divided. I know I'm ranting about it, but I'm really adamant about that.
Gerrymandering is the art of drawing political district lines to give your side an advantage. It is legal, and it goes back to the dawn of America.
That's David Daley. He wrote this book.
We are the only democracy in the world that allows politicians to choose their own voters.
Look at this strange shape. You won't find this in a geometry textbook, but you will find it in North Carolina's 4th District. Gerrymandering has been around forever. But in 2010, we saw
Gerrymandering's literally been around since the Declaration. Elbridge Gerry, he was there at the foundation of the Constitution and shit. So it goes back to the dawn of this country, not just like literally as the country started. It was gerrymandering has been around.
A program called Maptitude, Republican strategists adjusted district lines street by street based on voting records and demographics and even magazine subscriptions, and it worked brilliantly. In 2012,
so this is how data works. This is how their ability to have information works. They're able to look at the trends down to the block, down to the darn near to the home, and draw a district map that is favorable to them.
Democrats racked up 1.4 million more votes nationally for the House of
Okay, so the House of Representatives, Democrat, 1.4 million more votes.
Representatives. Yet the Republicans held a strong majority of seats. Since then, Republicans have ruled Congress from a minority. And as politicians come from more and more secure local bases, they don't need to compromise.
Okay, again, I am contending that this is what divides the country. The fact that the government is a right-wing, basically a right-wing to right authoritarian country, we're like center right. We're like center right. Like Joe Biden is like a moderate Republican. You know what I mean? So the fact that we're center right, but actually the average person is progressive in America. The average person is cool with single payer health care, is cool with maternity, child care, pay leave. Like, it's ridiculous. The idea, look, no, I don't want that. Like, subsidized college. Not free, subsidized, meaning our tax dollars be going to programs that work for us. I don't like using the term free, because when they use the term free, they try and make it seem like it's socialism. It's not socialism. We all pay taxes. Every single person pays taxes. Yes, even the person flipping burgers that you have disdain for. I don't, but you do, Republican. You have disdain for the person flipping burgers. I don't. They're contributing taxes to the system. They should get something for it. Why not? Why the F not? Why the fuck not?
In fact, as we've seen with the rise of the Tea Party and the Freedom Caucus, compromise is seen as a weakness. Republicans literally shut down the government.
We have made these districts more extreme. We've made our politics more extreme.
And again, the Republicans, they don't have no incentive to do anything because they control everything. They don't have to do shit. And the Democrats are just pathetic. I honestly think that it's just all... It makes you really believe in like the people, the capitalists. It's an oligarchy. We live in an oligarchy. The richest people, the people who run the corporations, the heads of the corporations, the heads of the economy are the ones who basically control the opposition. They control the media. They control. I know dumbass racists are like, oh, it's all George Soros, but that's some dumb shit. Now, if you were going to tell me, does George Soros put money into politics and he shouldn't have as much an influence as he does? Yeah, sure, why not? But compare his $8 billion to Mike Bloomberg's $62 billion, and he jumps into a Democratic primary halfway through. No one has anything to say about that one, but it's all George Soros. It's like basically like Bloomberg funds half the Democratic Party, and motherfuckers are still talking about Soros. It's like, if the only billionaire talk about is Soros, yeah, you racist, bro, you anti-Semite, straight up. Like, if that's the only freaking billionaire you mention, like every other billionaire is like, oh, they're just hardworking people who clocked in and stayed a little bit later and are really, really good people. But George Soros is the one evil person. It's like this gerrymandering stuff. It's like it's just a way to like not allow the will of the people to shine through, so that the Republicans control the shit. And then there's enough Republicans out there who are stupid who stand for them. So it seems like there's a lot, but there's not. It's more Democrats. More people are into the democracy. Republicans don't even believe in the election once. Even though they control so much of the fucking government, once their one dude doesn't win, even though he won before after losing the popular vote, they're still crying. It's like they want everything and want to do nothing but hurt you. They want to own all this governments to make liberals cry, to make socialists cry.
We've made it impossible for anything to get done, and when nobody can get anything done, it leads to anger, and that anger gets easily appropriated by a strongman. That's Donald Trump.
So there you go. Republicans have used things like gerrymandering and voter ID law.
Embrace yourself, homies. There are going to be more and more and more Trumps coming. As long as the Democratic Party is bullshit and they don't educate their electorate and they're not with their electorate and they don't fight for their base and they always talk down to their base, like even after they narrowly squeak by, they're already all the Joe Scarborough, you go blaming the socialists. It's like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, you and your fucking air-conditioned corporate bullshit trying to tell motherfuckers on the ground. You don't even have people on your show, but you're gonna talk shit. I'm a regular person. Fuck you, Joe Scarborough. Little punk ass bitch. He's a punk, dog. But anyway, he was all up in there being like, oh, the leftists, they the problem and shit. Leftists is the only one winning, dude. Watch Cory Bush dominate shit. With the whole voter fraud thing, that's just another one of their stunts, another one of their tactics, because they cannot win elections in a legitimate fashion. They can't win them by numbers, so they have to come up with different rules. I mean, again, it's just white supremacy. It's just affirmative action for white people because they can't take a loss. They can't even take Donald Trump's loss, and so you can see it's going to get deeper and more. They're literally going to try to just steal elections coming here on out because they don't have the numbers anymore, and the numbers are not going to be on their side. And if the Democrat Party is just halfway talks to their base, then it's not going to be good for Republicans. So the Republicans are in a good spot in that the Democrats don't talk to their base, so it's like it's still allowing them to eat a little bit, but it's not going to be good coming in the future. There's going to be more fraud, more gerrymandering, as much as they can get away with, unless we legislate it out of our politics.